Hello, hello. Happy Monday, everybody. Hi, Glennis. Hey, Gretchen. Got your envelopes ready to go. I'm so excited. I'm happy. It's Monday. I love Mondays. So good to see you here. Hope y'all had a good weekend. I think you got a bunch of rain up in the great Pacific Northwest. Glennis is probably still buried in snow. You got all of our snow and your snow, and probably a lot of Washington snow this year, too. Oh, thanks for taking that on, Glennis. I appreciate that. How's everybody doing today? Let's see here. Let me make sure that you can hear me. Actually, Glennis, Gretchen, if you can hear me, will you type something in chat just so I know that it's actually working? Because every now and then we have one of those weird glitches. Oh, my YouTube to catch up. There we go. It's a little slow. Okay. And I bumped the camera. I'm going to turn on my own YouTube to see if I can hear it. Yep, I can. Okay. It's working. You can hear. Awesome. Thank you, Donna. I appreciate that. Helpful. Every now and then we have something where the sound doesn't come through, so I just always want to make sure. Awesome. So today, I've been cleaning and purging and organizing, and have come across all kinds of envelopes of every size and shape. And so everybody has envelopes like this. You get them in the mail, so they come junk mail, they come with stuff in them. You have new ones sitting there, all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to show you how to make a journal out of an envelope like this. And it doesn't matter what size it is or what color it is. I mean, literally any of these sizes works. This one was this big. So it was just in between all of these. None of these are the same size at all. So I'll show you the sample of this one that I made. We do have our prize pack today. We'll talk about that right at the very beginning, and we'll pick it up again later for those who come in a little bit later. But we have our prize pack giveaway. Anybody who supports the channel with a super chat, any amount, gets in the drawing. At the end of today's live, we do the wheel of names so that you can see the winner right here live on the screen. And we will give away this prize pack, which is full of supplies, things from the shop, things from estate sales, things that we have made on Monday Jumpstart. The more I organize and purge and get the shop together after the last sale, the more stuffed these envelopes are getting. So they are valuable. They are worth well over $100 with all the stuff that's in them. And you get in the drawing just by supporting the channel with a super chat during a live. We give one away at every single live we do. So Donna, you will recognize this. Recognize this envelope. This one I'm going to start and do the exact same thing and make a journal out of it in the manner that we're going to do today. So, hey Carrie, hope you're feeling better today. I know you have not been feeling well. Who is going to play along today? I think I'll use this one today. It's kind of a good medium size, so it'll be easier for you to see. Not super big, but not super tiny. I really like these little ones. I actually had already started this one, so I partially cut it. You don't need a whole lot of supplies today. You just need this envelope. You'll need some scissors or a paper trimmer or both. You'll need some glue and some scrapbook paper. It doesn't matter if it's scrapbook paper or cardstock. It literally does not make any difference. Those of you who have boxes of scraps, you can, depending on the size of your envelope, you can probably do it just out of scraps out of your scrap bin. So I have some scraps and offcuts here of another project, and these have just been sitting here. So I'm going to use this, which I'm going to try to use up a lot of these scraps in making today's. But here I will show you a quick flip through Carrie, winner, Carrie. She is very supportive of the channel and she wins a lot, but that's because she supports a lot. So I appreciate her a lot. So she can tell you about all the fantastic things that come in those prize pack. You found a small packaging envelope. That works. That absolutely works. All right. Okay. Glennis, yay. Okay, so here's the envelope. You can tell, obviously, that that's just a regular manila envelope. And when you get the journal made, here's what we have. Open it up. And it's real simple, basic, and can be used over and over. This flips up. I did put a pocket here because I wanted to use up some more scraps and put a little tag in. You could leave that blank. You could also put some paper on here and staple it to the top that you could tear off. So it could be a tear off pad up there. I put another pocket down here, same thing. Wanted to use up some of this paper, you could write on it. But again, you could put a tear off pad right here. And I say that because this is a perfect size journal, especially if you did a little one like this. You could have those tear off pads and you could literally keep this in your purse or your pocket and have it with you all the time. And so if you're writing a note, need to just tear it off or making a quick list and then going, you can do that. And we're making it so that the paper can be replenished all the time. So if you wanted to keep it in your purse. And so then inside here is the writing space. I put a couple gel prints in, but you could also have it just be plain white paper. I like to put things that I can write on top of it and you can still see it. So it gives it a little bit of artsy quality, but it does not detract from its purpose. And then you have a pocket right here. So if you do keep it in your purse, you want to stick receipts or something in there and have shopping lists or notes, you know, you've got that, and everything is refillable. So the book itself is attached just with a piece of ribbon in the center. So when this is used up, you can take that out, grab some more paper, staple it, slide it in, and refill it. So that's why I like the little tiny ones, because they are so usable and reusable, refillable. And you can make them any design you want or any color you want. So, you know, you could make a whole bunch of them. It's just closed with a piece of Velcro, which I forgot to grab. Those are out in the other room. So I'll grab one of those, little tiny piece of Velcro, and I just put a button on it for decor. And this was the Joy of Life, a Minte collection. So I just put on there just, you know, just for a little embellishment. So super easy to do, and going to show you how to do that today. Gretchen's playing. Awesome. You're good. No snow, rain, and partly nice. Okay. Hey, Melanie, just watching today. Well, I'm glad you're here. Are you not at home? Can you grab some paper, an envelope, and play along with us? This is a fun one. Okay, so I have my note paper beside me, and I have a pencil. So anytime during the broadcast that we have a super chat, I will write it on the list so I get everybody in at the very end, and we'll do that drawing at the very end. So if as new people come along, if those of you who are here would remind them, or, you know, let them know, just in case I don't bring it up throughout, then we'll do that at the end. Anyway, okay, so your envelope, it could be literally any kind of envelope. It could be this one. It can be a regular manila. It could be white. It could be brown. It could be any size. It really does not matter. The process is the same no matter the size. So first thing I'm going to do is take off this little metal thing. They don't all have this on it. So if yours doesn't, great. You don't have to do that. But you could probably just paper right over it, but I don't need it, so I don't want it. It just got those little hooky things in the back. Guess I could have done that before. But I'm just going to get underneath it and try to gently lift it up. If it tears the paper a tiny bit, I'm not concerned because it's going to get covered. So trying to just kind of lift up those little legs. Once one side is out, it makes it a little easier to get the other side out. But so as far as the closure, there's lots of different ways that you can close it. We'll talk about that when we get to the closure. I just like the simple Velcro because it's fast and easy, not having to tie something up if it is in my purse and I'm out and about. Okay, so we've got that off. Now we are ready to go. All right, so that's going to get papered over, so we're not worried about that, just making it flat. First thing I want to do is trim the end off. You can use scissors or a trimmer. I can't cut straight with scissors, so I'm going to use my paper trimmer. And the goal here is to just barely cut it off, to cut it off just enough that it is open, so we no longer have that fold, that closed end. But I don't want to cut off much at all. So I'm literally trying to cut off just a sliver, as sliverish as possible. Okay. Once we've got that open, thank you, Carrie. First one in on the super chat. Thank you so much for your support. Carrie's first one in the drawing. Okay, so now you've got this open. Now we're going to fold it in half. As you fold it in half, make it just shy of this fold here. Because if you're up tight on top of that, and then you get paper on all of these, and you get paper on this one, then it can't close, and this is sticking up and causing you a problem. So fold it just shy of that fold there. I'll make sure that this will still close nicely, and give it a little bit extra room because it's going to be covered with paper. Better too much room than not enough. Okay, once you've got that folded, go ahead and burnish that. Have a nice fold there. A nice crease. Okay, so there essentially is your journal. So now we're going to come over to this side, the left half, and we want to open it up so that we have the flip up section. So I'm going to cut this fold off just like we cut the end fold off, but only from this fold down. And I'll use my paper trimmer again because for me that's easier than scissors, but scissors are just fine if you feel comfortable with them. So I need to be all the way to this fold. And again, I want to cut off just the slightest sliver. It needs to be open, but I want to cut off as little as I have to. I mean, that's a sliver. So, yeah, as little as you have to just to make it open. But I want it to be open all the way to that crease. So if you do that and you don't quite get to the crease, grab your scissors and just cut that little tiny little bit off. So okay, so it's all the way to the crease. Now I need to cut open this crease so that this piece will flip up. So that's a little more difficult with a trimmer. You could grab your scissors and do it. I don't do very straight with my scissors, as I keep telling you. So I am going to use a blade. And what am I looking? I'm just looking for like a notepad that I could stick in there. I'm going to turn it around this way. I'm going to stick a notepad in. It's kind of thick. It's too thick. You don't need it sticking up. So just some old paper. I'm going to stick that inside so I don't cut through. I don't want to cut through the back of the envelope. And let's see, a ruler. Now this paper isn't wide, it only goes to here. So I got to be careful only to cut to there. So I'm looking at where I'm going to cut. Now, you know, you've got this crease. You could cut right down the center of it. You could cut just to the left of it or just to the right of it. With my book turned around, I'm going to cut just to the left of it, which is flap side. So flap side, I'm going to cut just the tiniest hair to the left of that crease, not right in the crease because, well, you'll see. All right, so from the end, I need to not go to the edge of that paper. Okay, and then I can slide my paper over. Otherwise, I'm sure I would be cutting through the entire envelope, which I don't want to do. So slide the paper over, and then I will continue my cut. Make sure I'm in the same groove. There we go. All the way to the end. Okay. Okay. So the reason I wanted to cut just flap side of the fold is so that when it folds, I don't have a bunch of stuff bunched up there. So I've got a little excess right here. You can see that there's a tiny bit of the fold on here, and I'm going to trim that off just like I trimmed the very edges. Again, it's just I'm going to use my paper trimmer. You could use your scissors, and I'm just going to trim just that tiny bit of fold off. Okay, again, just a tiny little sliver, but that gives me enough room then as my flap goes up for this to fold. And when they're all covered with paper, it can still fold. So I want to see just the tiniest of slivers in between here. Okay, so there's our flip up, and there's our pocket. And that is literally the bones of your journal. So thank you, Gretchen. Got Gretchen in for the drawing. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Jill. Welcome. Thank you, Jill, for your support. Tardy to the party. That's okay. Tardy, better than not at all, Sylvia. So glad you're here. Slide the little dot. What did I miss? Oh, don't know how to change the dollar amount. Oh, well, I don't know because I'm not seeing what you're seeing. So I apologize. Okay, so now we're going to grab paper. And before we put in any of the writing surfaces, we're just going to cover the journal. So I'm going to use these offcuts from another project and see if I can't use up some of this. I have a feeling that I've got enough here to make about at least five of these journals. So maybe I'll do some more of those envelopes afterwards. But what I like to do is remember that when I fold it this way and close it up, this is the front. So as I look through these papers to decide what I want to use where, I want to keep in mind which one do I like, the most to be the front cover of my journal. So all the others, are not. This is actually going to be the back, and you've got the inside. You've got the inside of the inside. So I will do the flap and the inside, or inside and outside of the flap. So that piece is not quite large enough, but there are plenty that are. So let's see. And it depends on how much border you want to have around. You could do 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch even. Could do that and have 1/4 of an inch border. I like that a lot, but I might want to get just a little bit closer to the edge, a little bit more coverage. That's pretty. Let's keep looking here. The only page in there that hasn't been cut. That would make a really pretty front cover right there, and get all the way to the butterfly up there. So, okay, I'm going to use that one as my front cover. So I'm just going to cut that one first. Again, you could use scissors. You can use paper trimmer. I am going to do a lot of this without measuring. And to me, not measuring, being able to do something not measuring just makes it faster and easier. And so I'll measure by putting it on there, not measuring my item and saying I need something to be this many inches by this many inches. But I'll put it on here and get it lined up to where I want. And then just take my pencil and say, there's the edge. Can't see up there, but here's the edge, and I want just that much showing, so I just make a little mark. I can pull that down so that I can see the top, And I could do the same on the top. Now those two marks should line up if my paper is cut straight. So that is the fastest and easiest way to measure. And I know it's going to be accurate without having to measure in inches or centimeters. So there we go. So then I can look at that and say, well, do I want a little bit more border than that? I might want just a tiny bit more border on the bottom or top. So if I'm cutting the first cut, often I'll cut it just a hair bigger because I can always cut it down. I can always take a sliver off, but I can't add to it. Okay, so for me, that is perfect border. I want just a little tiny bit. I don't want a whole lot on this one. Sometimes I like a little bit larger border. This one has just a little bit more border, but I'm going to do this one just a little bit closer up. You could ink the edges if you want to. This would be the time to ink them before you put it down, or you can put your paper down and then you can go ink the edges of your envelope. That is totally up to you. Sylvia, tiny slivers for my journal makes me happy, right? Sylvia, are you playing along today? I know you've had a lot of stuff going on and may not have been able to get in there to get things set up and go. Isn't it amazing how plain envelope, once decorated by yourself and your grand stash of papers and ephemera, turns into a pretty amazing journal, right? Well, I know you all have plenty of scraps of paper sitting around. You could cover this with your gel prints, with scraps of other, they don't have to be from the same paper collection. If they're in the same color family, they're going to look great and they're going to go together. And if you want it to be eclectic and be the whole rainbow, do that too. There are no rules. It's whatever makes you happy. All right, so I'm just going to get this down here. Okay, once that's down, let's see, somebody having problems getting in. All right. Some of them switched and said that we're on at 6 o'clock tonight, and that is actually not the case because we're on right now. Okay, so there's my front cover, and then I can look at my flap here to see, what I want that to be matching with this. But I'm going to go ahead and cover the other pages, the other sides, and then decide on that later or as we go. So doesn't matter if you have single-sided paper or double-sided paper on this one. Whatever you want to use. Which way do you think this paper went? Could go any which way. Butterflies are going one way. Birds are going a different way. That's not quite big enough for that. I really like that piece of paper, but it's not quite big enough. So let's see what else is in this stack. Now this has some cool borders on here. Maybe one of these borders or two of them together will be wide enough to do the flap. That would be good. And let's see. About this one. That one will work. Let's see if I can cut off one of these partially cut sides. Let's see. All right, so I know Gretchen and Glynis and Carrie are making a journal today. I always like when you guys make them, please be sure to post them in the group. And remember that you can post, and I would love for you to post anything that you're making, creating, not just the things that we do together on Jumpstart, or even something I'd put a tutorial out for, but everything. You know, I've decided, you know, now where did I mark? Where did I mark? There it is. Yeah, okay. Almost forgot where I marked there. It's really inspiring and motivating to see what people are creating and working on, no matter what it is. And I find inspiration in all of your creations, whether it's photographs or crocheting or card making or junk journaling. It doesn't even matter. I find it all inspiring. It's all creative, and you know, really viewing anything creative gets your creativity flowing, and that's what's important. So it doesn't matter that it's any particular thing. Don't ever feel like, well, I can't post because, you know, it's not that. There are so many things, and we know this year we have designated as our year of curious play. We've already talked about all the many things that we have in stock that we have never used or not used enough, that we're going to get in and play with this year and try and experiment. And we've already been doing that. We've done some experimenting already, and we've got a lot more coming. We've got stuff with alcohol inks, and we already did some oil pastels. More coming with that. And every time we do something like that, I learn things from all of you about other ways to use them. And that I love that. I love doing it together because I always learn from all of you, and I know you learn from everyone else too, because we only know what we know. And there we go. Okay. I am not covering the flap. I am going to cover just the front. Now this part dips down here. I'm going to ignore the dip and just make this full square. Okay, you could cut a thumb notch up top here. Any circle punch will work for that. Grab a circle punch here. Any circle punch. Go to the center. It's easier to cut that thumb notch before you glue it down, just in case, depending on the size of your envelope. If you have a large envelope, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference. You can slide the punch in. But if you have I went a little bit lower than I wanted to on that. Darn it. I went a little bit too low. Let's see if this. I could bring it up a little bit higher. I'll do that. Okay. I'll just leave a little bit more than I wanted to down here. I'll bring it up a little higher. And so I need to cut off a little bit more. I should have looked at that first. So any size circle punch will work for a thumb notch, but don't punch it too deep if you don't want your envelope to show. Cut off just the tiniest of strips right there. And then I'm just going to bring this right where, there we go. That'll work. Okay. So as I put the glue on it, I want to make sure not to put glue right here where it's not going to have, I'll put my finger there so that I remember my glue is bubbling over. So let's see, from the edge, trying to use this up. It's almost gone. Go all the way around the edge. And then we know we're coming over here. And I need to align this by the top where I want this to be right at the edge to cover the envelope. And then I'll align top and bottom. Okay, that works. I'll get in there just to make sure I didn't have any glue pop out. Now, you can see that this is open a little bit here. I'll put a little bit of glue to hold that down. So when I slide things in and out, it won't get caught. You could do that before or after. Doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Okay, so this actually goes all the way through here, this pocket, because we cut the center, remember? So I'm going to fold this back, and I'm going to put just a tiny strip of glue to glue the pocket down. It's not a big deal if you don't. You could push things through. For the most part, they'll stop, but if you don't want to lose receipts or notes or something and push them through, then it's good to glue that down. Okay, and then I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to put just a tiny bit on here, and it's okay if it gets on the back of the paper because I want that paper to stick to that. So there we go. And if I didn't get close enough to the edge, I'll give it a minute to dry, and if I didn't get close enough to the edge, I can pick up any little edge piece that I want there. Okay, so now got this, I've got the flip up. So let me get something over here. What do I like? I like this stuff up here. I like the butterflies. So I think I'm going to kind of take it right out of the middle. I can go as far as that because it's too short right there. So that's actually where I should have cut it off, but just make some little decorative strips to use later. Okay, so if I do this, I'm going to line it up so it's as close to the edge as the one next to it. Then I'm just going to mark where I want to cut it here and where I want to cut it down here. I'll cut the bottom off first. Always cut the shorter side off first, and then it actually makes the other side shorter, which makes it easier to cut. And that's a nice strip. Very usable. As is that one. All right, let's see here. Flat, got it. Okay, Chris, you're here finally. Ready for a lemon screenshot. I know, I saw your screenshot there, and I don't know why it said 6, but I'm glad that you messaged because, yeah, we are live now. Hick and Loop, thank you. Thank you for your support. We appreciate that. Let me add you to Hick and Loop. I feel like I know you, and I can't think of your name. I hate the whole YouTube name things now that they've changed. Tell me your first name, and I'm going to put you on the list for the drawing, which will be done at the end of the live. Okay, so let me glue this one down. And so this, when you cut this, you notice you have this little flappy thing here on most envelopes. Again, not going to worry about that because it's just going to add strength to the envelope. I'm going to put a little bit of glue there and just glue that down because this is going on top of it. So the entire thing is going down. Let me just double check my size. Okay, that is good. And I need to get this up to the top so this top of the flap stays down. There we go. Okay. Every time I attempt a tiny bit of glue, it never fails. Blop. Gluus Maximus. Allison. Oh, hi, Allison. I felt like I knew you. I recognize you. I know who you are now. That's awesome. Thank you. So glad that you're here. So glad Chris told you about the thing we did a few weeks ago that you tried. Awesome. We have got close to 800 videos in YouTube. Many of them are tutorials, things that we have done over the past 6 years. Some of them are lives, and the lives are always creating things. Most of those are tutorials and how-tos. Some of them are just craft-alongs. But there are lots and lots and lots of videos of things to make and do. So if you are looking for something new, that you haven't done. I say new because everything's new to us at some point. Nothing is new. All of this stuff has been done for many, many years. It just all gets churned over again every few years. We change something up or we bring something back around. But, none of this is new. Somebody's always done it before. And then it starts a swirl around YouTube and everybody does it. And then we, move on to something new. But it's always new to us at some point if we haven't done it before. Okay, I'm looking for what I might look like over here. That's kind of pretty. Let's see. I don't know if any of those. That one is wide enough. I could leave the branding strip on up there and put that on. That would be actually kind of pretty. Okay, let's do that. Let's do that for the inside. All right, so I've got Allison on the list. I've got Carrie, Gretchen, Jill, and Allison. Oh, you were gifted a couple boxes of white envelopes by a friend whose business employer was going out of business. That is awesome. Envelopes are great to use for so many creations. And again, it doesn't matter if it's manila or white or brown. I showed you this one. My mom received one of those pop-up cards in it, and the envelope was beautiful, so I kept the envelope. So that's one I pulled out this morning to start the same kind of journal as well. So yeah, color of the envelope doesn't make any difference. It just gives you a different frame. And you can you can cover it right up to the very edge if you want, if you don't want to see that color. The white would be a really nice backdrop, a really nice frame. So a lot of your paper, white and black is always a really nice frame. Okay, so this is almost just the right size. I'm going to leave that branding strip on the top, and I'm going to cut it right here. And right here. I'm excited to use up some of this. They're scraps because it was already used for another project, but really just offcuts. Offcuts from another project, and they're not tiny enough. I hadn't put them in the scrap bin yet because there was so much of the paper pack left. It is not exactly straight. I'm going to try to straighten it up. I can only see it because of the stripes there. So I'm going to try to straighten it up a little bit. If it wasn't stripes, I wouldn't see that it wasn't exactly straight. But because it is and I can, I'm going to try to straighten it up. So when I look at that, my stripes are going straight up and down. There we go. All right, so that one works perfectly. Okay. I'm throwing away all the slivers. I will keep all the little pieces until we're finished. And there we go. That makes for a nice base there. So because the branding strip is getting glued down, I mean, it is perforated, it would come off, but because it's getting glued down, it's just fine to leave on there. And it's actually a nice little complement, little border, because it has some little birds and bees and things on it. Hey, Joanne. Yeah, that's what did they call that? Lavender? I can't remember exactly. It's the We Are Memory Keepers. We Are Makers. Sorry, they changed their name. We Are Makers trimmer, same as the blue one. But sometimes a change of color is nice, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know how many paper trimmers I need. I've definitely got more than I need, but I tend to use them all at different times for different things. Oh, Chris, you bragged about your prize pack. I sent your last one last week to San Diego, so you should be getting the, actually went out Saturday, so you'll probably get that today. Awesome. Oh my goodness, either my glue stick's way too dry or it's way too wet. Uh-oh. Have you had some weather this weekend? Okay, so here we are. We've got the flip up. We've got this. Now let's cover this side up here. And what do we want to do up there? I'm looking at what I've got left on here. Got that one below. That one is not quite long enough. Got that little glitter chandelier, that would work. Got that one, that would work. Well, that's pretty, a little glitter, and that goes with the purple over there. It's gonna get covered likely, so I'm gonna use that one. Okay, so again, doing our measuring by placing, deciding where I want. I'll use this end here. So for ease of measuring, I'm going to turn it around. I'm first going to trim it. It needs to be longer than this, so I'm going to trim it where it's already cut. Yeah, you know, you can sit down and batch make this one. Literally, you could batch make a whole bunch of these at one time. Even just pulling out your scrap bin and using different different scraps on each one, but take all your envelopes out and cut, you know, like trim the edge off, boom, 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 trim the edge off and the end off all your envelopes at one time. And then, you know, fold them, trim the next thing up, boom, boom, boom. I mean, you could literally do a whole bunch. So, and if they're all the same size, you could measure it and cut a whole bunch of pieces that are all the same size ready to go. So as you're decorating it, you just glue them down. If, like Allison, you just got a whole box of envelopes and they're all the same size. Okay, I want it to go to about here. Okay. These are also super cute with little tiny envelopes. So I showed you the one small one I pulled out here, but even smaller than that, little tiny ones. You could actually do this with little coin envelopes. We've done how to make coin envelopes before, and we've made coin envelopes with some really unique closures. But you wouldn't put the closure on, just make the coin envelope and then turn it to the side. And you can make teeny tiny journals. Let's see. Okay, it'll work for me. Hey, Heather, welcome. Good to see you. Oh, Carrie, you got sticky too. Oh, sicky. Oh, not sticky, sicky. Yeah, Carrie's been sick all weekend. I really hope you start to feel better. It'd be the ucky change of weather. I know, I mean, it was really warm here, and then all of a sudden it got super cold. And then now it's getting warm again. We actually had, last time I know I said we have had no snow this year. We had 1 day of snow. We actually got 1 day of snow this last week. Not enough to stay, but 1 day that we could actually say it's snowing. It wasn't very much. But yeah, it feels like spring. Daffodils are coming up. The tulips are coming up. Everything's coming up now. So I have to say it's probably spring. That's probably all the winter we're going to get. And that there wasn't much snow at all, as long as the mountains got some. So we're good for the spring. Straighten me up there just a little bit. Okay. Okay, so we've got our cover. We've got our flip up here. And we just need to do the back and our flap. All right, so the back, let's see here. We've got this, the birds. If you want to decorate the back, then you could do something that's, you know, more solid. So you could decorate it. If it's going to be carried in a purse, and I don't like to do a lot of decorating on the outside. This is pretty with the wood and the butterflies. That's an option. Let's see, running out of options here with this paper pack, trying to use what is already here, already cut and partially used. That one, we know that one's not big enough. So, all right. I think I'm going to go with this. This is wood, and it's got the butterflies on it. The piece is not big enough, so it'll have to come from over here. Okay. So we'll have, if you have been watching the series I started recording of tutorials of how to create paper, your own paper for collage, different types of collage paper. There's only 2 videos out there so far because I started doing it and then had a couple of surgeries. And so I'm just now able to get back to that, but there will be another one of those coming out tomorrow. And I've got plans for a lot more. And I'm actually feeling a ton better. Thank you to everyone who has asked and sent me good wishes. I really appreciate that. I'm feeling a ton better. Healing quickly, so I can get back on recording those. Okay, where's my mark? There it is, right there. Just marked it, then the light glares on it, and I can't see it. Hey, Jersey. Oh, it snowed the whole day, then it rained the next day, and it was all gone. Yep. Hey, Jersey, good to see you. So yeah, so I'm excited. While I was sitting around recovering, I was making lists and planning and organizing and planning lots of different videos to share with you on how to make collage paper, making your own collage paper, because there are so many different ways to make it. And it's fun. It's fun to make your own. Okay, something doesn't feel quite straight to me on that. Let's see. The back, probably shouldn't worry about it, but I do like it to be straight. Okay, our mark for cutting over here. That should be same on both ends. Yep. Okay. So let me turn this around, make sure I've got it going the right way. This is front, so this is up. And so I can see whether I want, I'm going to do it this way. Okay, perfect. All right. So I'm excited about the one that's coming out tomorrow. If y'all like the Tim Holtz tissue paper for collage tissue paper, Dina Wakely makes some. I'm trying to think of who else does. It gets expensive, especially if you like to do a lot of collage and really like to use that. I'm going to show you how to make your own, and it's awesome. It's really awesome. You don't have to buy the expensive stuff. You can make your own. Okay. Here we go. Kind of make sure that they're lined up kind of sort of pretty well there. Me too. Jersey, are you not on, are you on Facebook? You are on Facebook, aren't you? Are you not on our notification list so that you actually get the message through Messenger every Monday morning? Okay, so we've got all our parts and sides covered. Now we just have the flap. So let me go to all these strips. We can cover it with anything. I thought I would try to use one of these strips if possible. If not, we'll just cut down a piece of paper. So let's see. I kind of like it a little bit bigger. I mean, it would work. I'd like it to follow the shape of the flap and go all the way over. So it's not quite long enough for that. This one isn't wide enough, I can tell. There was one other one. Let's see about this one. This one has the flowers. That's pretty because that flower matches that one. Okay, this one's, I can make that Perfect. All right. So here's how I'm going to do this. I want it to be the shape of this envelope, and I want it to have just the same amount of border on the flap, the shape of the flap. I want the same border as the flap, which means it has to be cut at an angle. And so that can be a little odd to cut. So how I'm going to do that is by, first of all, I'm going to see where I want it. Where do I want the flap on here? So I've got a partial flower there. If I go to this one and I go to that one, those two are positioned just the same. So if I cut off, if I cut right there and I cut right there, and this does not need to be perfect. All I'm doing here is making, where's my cut? There's my cut. All I'm doing is making this basically the length of my envelope, plus it's a little bit over, which is perfect. It's exactly what I want. Okay, and that will allow me to position the flap centered in here. Jersey, what is your name on Facebook? Is it the same? Is it Jersey or is it your real name? And which has just escaped me. Oh, YouTube drives me crazy because I know y'all buy your first names, your real names, and from the sales, and then I see these names, and then YouTube switches it up, and I kind of forget sometimes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is flip this over here, and I'm going to position it behind the flap, and I made it almost the exact size of the flap so that I could get it right where I want it. So I'm going to the very end there and the very end here, and now my flap is right here. Okay, so this is super quick and easy way to do this. Pencil, draw around the flap. Okay, now I know that this is all the way down to the bottom, and when I put it on, I want a tiny bit of flap to show, just like on everything else, and I need a tiny border to show around here, right? So I know that what I've cut here, I need to be just inside that. So I'm going to take this and just cut up here, and I'm going to cut down here. So when I do that, that should be the same shape. It is, but it is exactly the same size as my envelope because I just traced it along, right? So if I cut, let me get my paper trimmer unburied here. If I cut along the bottom, and I want to make sure that that is on straight, then this should be pretty close to the exact size of my flap, and it is. So you could cover, if you wanted to, you could cover your entire flap right there and not worry about any border. If you want a little border to show, I don't know. I always leave a little border showing, but I kind of like that whole flap being covered right there. So I might just leave that this time. If you want the border to show like this one, then all you do, now you've got your perfect shape by the flap, all you do is go in and cut just a hair inside all the way around, however much border you want. And if you cut, you don't have to cut on typically on both sides of the long side. Cut the side up, go over and cut the side down, and that makes it short, top and bottom. So you want to be careful not to cut too much off of both sides. It'll make it too short. So I am going to, looking at this, it is just a hair over because I made it a little bit large so I'd have room to measure and cut down. I'm just going to trim it down. I think I'm going to let it cover the entire envelope. I'm sorry, the entire flap. I keep saying envelope. So let me line that up. And just a hair on this side. Sliver, a hair, whatever you want to call it. Just the tiniest of bits. Okay, that is perfect. And then all I'm going to do is round this corner a tiny bit. I'll just grab my corner rounder to do that. Sometimes just do it with my, I'm going to grab the big one, the 1/2 inch. It might not even get, nope, won't even get close enough. Usually just do it with my scissors. Because literally all I'm going to do is just take that point off. That's all. No big rounding, just taking the point off. So you won't even notice. Because this one is pointy, yet it's a soft point. So I just took that point off. There we go, just like that. Now, if I want to do the same thing on the other side, before I glue this down, here's the easiest way to get your underside of the flap. You could glue this on and you could go through the same process, but I like to make it as simple as possible. Jean Ann. Okay, so I'm going to check, Jean Ann, as soon as we get off, I'm going to check inside the messenger group and just make sure that you're in there. I suspect you're not, or you would be getting those texts. Or Glennis, you can check. Okay, I'm looking for what I would want to be on the inside flap there. Maybe the wood that matches back here. So the different wood, I know there was leftover wood. Where did that go? Underneath here. Let's see if there is a large enough piece. So the easiest way to do this is to literally trace the one you did here. Okay, that is not quite long enough. Not going to work. Okay, so I need to pick a different piece. I try to use the small scraps first, the small offcuts first, and go from smaller to larger. That always leaves your largest pieces. Some more flexible in doing other things with them. None of those pieces are long enough. This one might be. Nope, not quite. You can see it is at the top, but it isn't at the bottom. I won't get my corners in. So I could take something off of this strip because the border strip is kind of pretty to have on there. And that could be this one. Got a branding strip. How tall do I need it to be? It could be the butterflies plus some stripes. How about these butterfly? The bees. There's bees right here. Those bees would be pretty. But it's going to make both of those unusable. So that's not fun. Okay, look at that. The one with the bird cages is perfect height. Okay, so I'm going to use the bird cages. So all I'm going to do is cut that strip out. I'm going to leave that little border. I don't think I need any of the border. It's right inside both borders. So I'm going to leave that border for the strip above. And I'm going to leave that border for the strip below. Make sure. Keep double checking myself. That is right on the money. So leave that border, but not go any above it. Okay. Okay. So then I can look and see, is there a part of this that I like better than another? It repeats right here. So I do like these little bird cages here that match that. The chandelier matches this. So let's see if I get 2 bird cages and 2 chandeliers. We'll cut in the middle of the brown chandelier on both ends. Okay, so I'm just going to go straight from the end, which is great because that's going to make best use of, make sure I've got it turned right side up. I'm going to line this up. Really the easiest way. Just tracing something is easier than trying to measure and cut and hope you got it exactly right. Okay. And I'm going to mark the top too. What I didn't look at is top or bottom where I want to take that hair off, and I don't know if it matters. I don't think it matters. So, okay. Oh, I didn't mark this side. That's okay. I will. It goes this way. All right. So I know that I need to go from here to here. I cut that a little curved because I wasn't sure if it was exactly straight. Didn't want to measure it again already, but I will do that right here. So hang on here. This one goes this way, and this one is going to go this way. So I need to make sure I'm measuring it against it the correct way. So that goes there. Then I can go down to this end and just cut off or mark. Mark and then cut off right here. Okay. And then it's probably slightly tall. I need to make sure that I don't glue it all the way down to the bottom, even though I want to cover the whole flap. I need to leave enough for it to fold, to close. If you get right into the crease, then it's too thick to close. And if the top is a perfect match, and it is, then I'm going to take that hair off of the bottom. Oops, it shifted. Sometimes small pieces of paper are more difficult to hold in place, and they shift when the pressure of the guillotine arm comes down. So there we go. Okay, so that should be a perfect fit. If not, I can trim off a tiny bit more. Easier to take off a little as you go than it is to add more on. Actually, there's the fold right there. I still need to take a hair off. Okay. Just don't want to get too tight in there, but I also don't want to cut it too short. I'll go slower this time, move it up as I go so I can maintain better control of the paper. Just taking a sliver, literally a sliver off of that. Okay, I'm just going to take the corner off, just barely round it, just so it's not such a sharp corner. And you can fold this back if you want to see exactly where it's fitting. Okay, and if I can't see any of the envelope below it, then I'm probably in the crease. So I might need even just a hair more to come off there. I want to be able to close the journal. The slightest of hairs. Okay. All right. All right, I can finally see the crease. I can see the crease. I know it's okay. So let me put this down. No problem, Jersey. I will check if Glennis didn't already. Okay, Glennis will get you on that list. So every Monday morning, you'll get a notification with the link to meet us here live. I mean, I know you can go to YouTube and get it. And I know some of you say you don't get notifications on YouTube, but if you go to YouTube and look at the subscribe button where you've already hit subscribe, click on it again, because it does not default to all notifications. It defaults to personalized, which doesn't really mean anything. And you need it to default, or you need it to go to all. So you need to click on the subscribe thing and then click on all by the bell so that you get notifications. Well, that way you'll get the notification when we're going live, which if we send it out, you'll get it in Messenger or you'll get it in YouTube there. So you've got a link right there. You don't have to go hunting for it. That's my thing. I know I can go find it on YouTube, but when it's easy, when it's just sent to you, it's so much easier just to click on that link. You'll also get the notifications for any of those videos and the tutorials, which we're going to start up again. Now that I'm feeling better, we should start tutorials up again and do a whole lot more recorded tutorials. Also, if you have not joined the channel, the membership, here it is. If you've not joined the membership channel, I'd encourage you to do that. It is a super fun group. We have a lot of fun. We get together every month. Okay, this one might need to trim off that tiny little piece on the bottom. Let me see here. We get together every month and we do some fun things. And sometimes, like last month, I tried something that I said, I'm not trying this live with everybody, but I'll try it live with you. Yeah, we do some experiments. We do some special workshops. We often have, and we'll be having coming up this spring, private sales where the membership gets first dibs at the things in the shop on those private sales before they come to the public sale. So sometimes if you've seen something before or heard about something and then it's not brought to the public sale, it might be because the YouTube membership got first dibs and it's gone. That happens. So, but we do have a lot of fun. There are some, so January and February of this year are in there that you can go back and watch. See, I want to line this up all the way up to the top there. Just lining it up with my flap. I want the whole flap covered. I've got a little bit of overhang from the one underneath the inside flap, and that's okay because I can trim that off. Perfect. Like that. Okay, so tiny bit of overhang where I cut that rounded instead of straight. And that's easy enough to trim. Everything else looks good. Looks good. All right, so here we have our flip up and our journal is completely covered and ready to go. Yes, the messenger links are easy to send to friends. Yes, that's another good reason that I like those. All right, so now we will look at the inside. So there are a number of different ways you could choose to do the inside. So this one, when I flipped up, I wanted to use one of the scraps and make a pocket here and then just put a tag in there. And same thing down below. Used another scrap and made a tag. However, you could choose to put replaceable notepads. So tear off notepads here. Or you could put a pocket with a notepad that sticks in it. See you, Jersey. So if I wanted to, let's do this a little bit differently than the last one. If I looking at these scraps to see what we've got left, this is a really pretty one that would go right there. Okay, that would make for a really nice pocket. Okay. Yeah, Glenn, as soon as we're done, I'll do that. Or if you scroll up in the chat, it's there. Okay, so I'm just going to trim this right here. I feel like it's a small cut, so I can get it straight with my scissors because I don't do very well with my scissors. I don't cut straight with scissors. I don't, see, even that, I guess, wasn't straight. Lining it up with this paper. Kind of, sort of. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to mark right there where I want to cut it. And that should be the exact same size. Okay, then all I'm going to do is put glue on 3 sides only. I always hold the side that I don't want glue on so I don't actually accidentally glue it while I'm talking to you. Okay, put that down. And then what I'm going to do is put removable paper in here, like for lists or notes. So that could just be replenished. You could put a gusseted pocket here if you want it to hold more. Okay, but I want to get to, since we're at 1 o'clock, we're at 1:10. I've got on the list, I've got Carrie, Gretchen, Jill, Allison, and Heather. If you would like to get into the drawing, you've still got a few minutes to do that for the prize pack. So what I'm going to do is take a piece of ribbon. I have a couple here that I thought might go along. White pretty much always goes. That would work. Or this one, it's kind of pink, but it's so sheer that once put it by this, it really takes on that peachy look. So, okay, I'm going to use that. And what I'm going to do is put this around the back, bring it to the inside, and I'm going to tie it just tie it in a knot right here. You could leave ends hanging if you want or not. You could tie it in a bow. I think if I tie it in a bow, I'm likely to accidentally grab hold of it and have it come out or untie, and then all my paper falls out. So I'm tying it in a knot because it is easy. I actually could tie that knot and then tie a bow on top of it if you want the pretty bow. But that's going to hold our paper in. And so now let's put the paper together, and the paper will be, the journal part will be replaceable. So this, I'm just going to do a quick measure to cut paper. I want my, let's see, what is this? Wide 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a quarter. So 5 would be perfect. And height wise, it is 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that right one? I can't see the glare on here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, that glare is just messing with my eyes. I can't do that, so I'm going to have to bring it down here. It is 7.5. So 5 by 7 and a quarter is the size of paper that would fit right inside. They don't have to be the exact size either. So I know they can't be more than 5 and 7 and a quarter. So I've got some variety of paper here. I've got these big ones. Let me start with, I'll fold that one in half. That'd be really pretty in there. Ribbon got bent and creased. That is actually kind of goes along with it, but the natural fibers and plants there would be really pretty with that. Okay, and this is not 5 by 7. So again, it doesn't have to be as big as that. And here's a lavender one that I thought might be pretty in there. So if I fold, let's see, gonna be too short that way. So if I fold it this way, what would I get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a quarter. And I said 5, right? So that means I would need to cut a 1/2 inch off. I'll cut a 1/2 inch off before I fold it, because a 1/2 inch is more usable than 2 1/4 inches, right? So maybe I'll even go 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch, just to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, a little bit bigger strip is easier to use. So if I fold this in half. All right, Chris, thank you for your contribution. Where's my pencil? There's my pencil. Thank you, Sylvia, for the reminder, for giving us a like, a thumbs up, And if you can, come back afterwards and leave a comment. Really appreciate the thumbs up. And as you're watching some of the other videos in there, if you'll give them a thumbs up and even a comment, that's actually what YouTube looks at in order to say, all right, these videos are worth pushing out to other people who might be interested, because somebody gave them a thumbs up is all. So Heather, thank you. Got Heather in there as well. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're at 7. Okay, we go to 10. We'll give away 2. Why not? Heather's in twice. I know. We go to 10 super chats. We'll give away 2. Okay, so what did I say the length was? 7 1/4, right? So there's 6, so that's about 7 right there. Okay, so now I've got 2 strips that are usable. Okay, and let's just get some of this regular. It's a nice thin paper. I know I love putting sheet music into. All right, so let's see. Lengthwise, we were about 7 1/4. And widthwise, we were 5. You could measure and cut your paper down before you do it and then just fold it. I am not, because I'm not super concerned about all these offcuts. Most of them are going straight in the trash because I have way too many. They need to be purged anyway. So some of these dyed paper or the pretty colored ones are really usable and worth keeping. Really great for collage. That one got caught a little bit, so let's give it a little bit better chance there. Okay, here's a piece of coffee dyed paper. 7 1/2, 7 1/4, 7 1/4 is 14, 15. No, that's not right. That's the length. 5 is 10. So that means if I cut 1 inch off of this one, there we go. The coffee dyed paper. So I just made a bigger offcut than 2 tiny ones because that's very usable. And then this one, about 7 1/4. Okay, some usable pieces there. Okay, and you can put as many pieces in here as you want. I like to get enough that it's a decent sized notebook. This one, I should be able to get multiple. Oh, it's another thing we need to do is how to dye paper like this. This was a big experimental batch that I did, and it turned out great. So that is just a little over 7 inches long. And I think the best way I can get multiples out of this, if I go that way, 5 1/2 and a little over 7 long. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm just going to cut. I've already got it folded. I'm just going to cut the fold off. Now I've got 2 pieces. If I do that, it needs to be no more than 5. So if I fold it at 5, okay, if I fold it at 5, then I can cut, if I fold it straight, if I fold it at 5, fold it straight, I can just cut that strip off. There we go. And that's a nice usable dyed strip. Okay, same thing with this one. If I fold it at 5, all right. See my fold? Yep, there it is. Fold it at 5. If I folded it straight, I can cut 1 strip off. There we go. Okay, and then lengthwise needs to be about 7 1/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 1/4. That's about right there, or no longer than 7 1/4. So these sheets are not all going to be the same length, and I am totally okay with that. If you like them all to be a perfect signature, then just measure and cut. I'm liking more and more the books where the pages are not all the same. Okay, let's put that one in there and get that one. I'm going to put this one. No, I'll just put that one on the inside. Okay. There's a nice little book. And if you don't like these being different lengths out here, you could cut the inside ones. In fact, this is a bigger piece, so I might put that a little farther towards the back so that it goes around others. Anything that's shorter, I can put in the center. This coffee dyed one seems to be a little shorter, so I'm going to move that towards the center. And then they're more lined up. They're actually exactly lined up without me having to trim anything off. Okay, so I'm going to call that good for signature. And you could sew them, pamphlet stitch. You could staple them. You could just glue them in if you wanted. I don't want to glue them because I want it to be replaceable. So I am going to staple them. So let's see here. I need to get how which angle the stapler needs to be at to get to, there we go, like that. I need a clip to hold that together. Ooh, that barely reaches. Grab a bigger one. Okay, I need to be able to see where my staple's getting. I can't see the other side. So just going to go on the assumption that it's there, and it's close. It's close. Can't see the other side. Don't want to get my head right underneath the camera. So there we go. All right, so we have our signature stapled together. Oh, I didn't get the music page in. Oh, well. It'll go in the next one. I can just make backup signatures to slide in as soon as this one's full. I can pull it out, slide another one in. So there we go. Put a ribbon down there. Okay. And there's your signature ready to go. So when you come to these sides over here, you could put something down to make it a pocket or a side pocket and slide a journal card in, or cut down some more paper and staple it at top, or put 2 holes in it and just put a ribbon through, tie the ribbon and stick those in. So you've got some tear off pads, and that's all it takes. Isn't that super easy? Oh, put your Velcro. I forgot to bring my Velcro in. So when you do your Velcro, it can be the dots, it can be a square, it doesn't matter. Mine are a big strip, so I just cut a little square off and stick it on the top, on your flap first. And then set this down, and then put your flap down and attach the flap like that. That way you know it'll be positioned perfectly. And then once you do that, I mean, this is tight. Now that I've got that paper in there, it's tight because of all the extra paper. I didn't give it a huge border leeway. Then I'd come back and put a clamp on it like that and let it sit for a while so that Velcro can get absolutely, completely securely attached there and not just get pulled right off. Okay, so that is our journal. That's our super easy journal. Again, you can make it any size. I can't wait to see the ones that you guys are making, because they're always different. And I look at yours and I go, oh, that's a great idea. So I'm going to be doing this one. And then I'm going to finish this one that I started, this little brown one. So finish that one. and some teeny tiny ones with coin envelopes. This one is not that small, but it's small enough to be purse or pocket size. But some teeny tinies for Margie, coin size, would be really cute. So let's go to the wheel of names. Hey, Sherry. Hello, hello. Okay, so I am getting Carrie, Gretchen, Jill, Allison, Heather, Chris, and Heather. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You still have about 2 minutes if anybody else wants to jump in to the super chat to get in that drawing. That is, what did I say, 7. Okay, when we hit 10, we will give away a second one. But I'm going to go ahead and start putting these names in here. Carrie, Gretchen, Jill, Allison, Heather, Chris, and Heather. Awesome. Yeah, Heather just had one sent out. Gretchen just had one sent out. Chris just had one sent out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, got him. Let me come back here, make sure I didn't miss anybody. Admin, did I get everybody? Make sure I didn't miss anybody. You guys are always on top of that for me. Appreciate that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go back now and I'm going to get everybody in 3 or 4 or 5 times. Or if you're already in twice, then it will be 6 or 8 or 10 times. All right. Let's see. There is 3. We'll go one more. We're going to get everybody in 4 times or 8 times for Heather. Whoop, whoop. Awesome. Okay. Let me come back and share my screen. Share my screen with you. We'll get the wheel of names up. We'll bring it to the front. There we go. Hopefully my YouTube doesn't have super bad delay. All right, we are ready to go. So for today's prize pack, keep your fingers crossed, click your heels twice. It is spinning. Good luck, everybody. These are so much fun to pack. All right, there goes my YouTube. It's finally spinning. Heather, great idea to jump in a second time the last minute. You got yourself another prize pack. Awesome sauce. Congratulations. Congratulations. So happy for you. You deserve it. Appreciate that. You are so welcome. I will finish, as you know, I've got a whole bunch of them freshly packed, but I always save a good chunk of room up here that I can try to put some things in that are specific for you. If I, know things that you like or enjoy, or try not to get the same things that you had last time if I had multiples of them. So I will finish packing this prize pack for Heather, and it'll be all ready to go. You know the routine with the shipping, same as last time. Again, watch tomorrow for the next video in the series of how to make your own paper for collage. And I am just excited to be healing, to be back out of surgery, to feel good. I feel good. I feel energetic. And looking forward to try all the things, as Carrie says. The hashtag. I love that hashtag. So feel free to use that in the group. Hashtag try all the things, because this is the year that we try all the things. Don't care how it turns out. We just want to try it. So until next time, stay curious, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.